Okay, first up, Otis College of Art and Design. If you're thinking, haven't I seen Otis before this week? That's absolutely right, because they have ambitiously taken on 2 Pando Days projects this year, which is extraordinarily impressive, with many thanks. Their submission today for the Pico Union Pocket Park location is P3, an architectural green print. The idea, a project rooted in art and public practice that facilitates environmental justice and cultural programming. Professor Gina Vallona leads the team. Gina, take it away.
Good afternoon and welcome to Green Print. My name's Gina Vallona, founder and principal of Art and Public Practice and creative lead at Otis College of Art and Design. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the Our County Sustainability Office, Pando, Gloria Farias, and the Pico Union Housing Corp staff, captains and community members, Richard Shelton, Lena Lightman, Julie Schultz, and the Otis College Creative 2021 teams. I'd also like to give special thanks to my assistant this semester, Ashley Cardosi, who helped bring all of the concepts to visualization for the final park design that you'll see today. Lastly, I'd like to thank mi dos amigas and colleagues, Professora Marcela Oliva and Shannon Scrofano, who inspired, shared, and supported me throughout this process. Our project synopsis: Green Print is an architecture project rooted in art plus public practice that facilitates environmental justice and cultural programming. Because the underserved communities are so lacking in green space, our project aims to catalyze political action and influence policy change by designing a green print to serve as an ecological template for the transformation of small hardscapes to urban parks. Our design for this challenge is informed by integrated civic engagement, creative strategy, and the creation of an ongoing community feedback and assessment plan to ensure long-term success. How might we develop more urban green space in disadvantaged areas and meet multiple sustainability and community needs where residents can thrive? The RFP challenge asked to submit a best use proposal and or an infrastructure design and or an ongoing community engagement strategy. For this presentation, we will present the best use proposal, an infrastructure design, and the PDF that we're submitting for review will also outline a community engagement strategy and a mobile app with a disaster preparedness plan. We took a design thinking approach over the course of 2021. I led 3 teams of art and design students through the spring, summer, and fall semester. And we looked at the project in a 3-phase process: inspiration, ideation, and implementation.
Gina, sorry, let me just interrupt. Are you anticipating that you're sharing screen right now, or are you going to shortly?
I'm seeing that I'm sharing my screen. Are you not seeing my screen?
No, you're not. And so, yeah, we just wanted to let you know.
I'm so sorry about that. That is terrible. Can you see my screen now?
Okay, that's good.
You can?
Yep.
Can you see it now?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So sorry about that. So
no, that's fine.
How might we, the challenge?
I think everything was clear.
Okay, great.
So I think you can go right ahead.
Wonderful.
I just wanted you to know. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So our case study, Pico Union District, develops low-income housing that integrates a holistic approach to neighborhood development. And we really took that to heart and tried to incorporate a holistic approach with our project as well. Okay, some case study research and cultural insights about the area. We learned that this area and community supports a collectivist culture. Responsibility and accountability are shared. They value harmony and cooperation, children and family, and bonding often takes place over family, food, music, and humor. So what did this community need? What does this community need? In short, They need short and long-term community engagement opportunities that support health and advocacy, community representation in the site itself, acknowledgement and use of community assets and constituents, an infrastructure design that's multifunctional and multi-purpose, and the site should allow for educational, health, respite, play, and connection opportunities. So the green print, our goal was to design a park in response to these community needs. And we were really looking at goals 3, 6, and 11 of the R County Sustainability Plan. The key features of the design will feature for security and safety, it's an enclosed park. That was a request. The exterior walls are have murals. We're anticipating there'll be future collaboration with the graffiti lab for that. There's an interior chalkboard that can be used for community workshops and creative expression. We design multi-use table and chairs that are sustainable and arrangeable, a retractable stage with 2 fold-out options depending on need, a retractable screen for presentations and screenings, a nature-based children's area with a 2nd level to optimize small space, vertical planters and garden boxes for edible food gardens, walls and fencing, safety, and a design that reflects the community, and then signage will be available in Spanish and English. We also talked a lot about sustainability throughout the project and how that might be integrated as the project develops and goes on, and how the site is used once it's built. So for example, the murals might create workshops using water-based spray paints, the chalkboard, we would get non-toxic veggie chalk. We've pre-screened a lot of vendors. So with the park, all of those elements of the park have sustainability in mind. We approached the project in a 3-pronged way. Today, I'm just going over the architectural and infrastructure design. And again, the design deliverables will include the engagement strategy and the Map and Go mobile app for disaster preparedness. Okay, so here's the site. It's 2,500 square feet section on West 12th Street and South Alvarado. Our site plan and aerial overview, the 2 solid walls on the east and south were strategically placed and are taller to reduce noise pollution, gas station traffic pollution reduction. As I mentioned, the community murals would be engaged in collaboration with Graffiti Lab. The perforated walls on the west and north give visibility to homes, neighbors, and the alley that leads to Pico Union Housing Corp. And it also allows for ability to grow foliage and greenscaping. We chose a sustainable building material, which is cast iron for the build. So this is just an aerial view of what the park itself would look like. These murals are, of course, placeholders, and we would look forward to collaborating on the design of those with Graffiti Lab. Here's an interior from the alley view. You can see this interior wall. We have one design here throughout, but as we move forward, we'd really love to create a design for each of these decorative elements based on the alley themes that represent the community. And here is a project that I worked on in near Silver Lake, near the LA River, where you can see this design with iron is not only beautiful, but it's structural, it's secure, and it has a beautiful aesthetic. Here's the entrance to the park. You can see the chalk wall is here. We pulled out this retractable stage with the screen. We have the rearrangeable tables and then the children's play area. We also left the existing trees that are surrounding the site. The south-facing interior wall would be a multi-purpose wall. The side panels are vertical planter boxes. They would provide green beautification, attract pollinators, natural healing herbs and aromatherapy could be part of the design. And then they'd also provide seasonal engagement opportunities like planting workshops, food gardens, and the chalk wall could serve as a community art and workshops with the veggie chalk. The multi-purpose seating and rearrangeable tables and benches will be used for audience seating, parties, picnics, presentations, screenings, studies, and workshops. And we'll present the layouts later on in this presentation. Here's a view of the screen in the stage pulled up. This will allow more green space for relaxation and respite when those areas aren't being used, since it is only a 2,500 square foot footprint. These are two views of the stage. This is a view of the stage when it's pulled out halfway. We imagine it could be used for speaker series, solo or duet performances, exercise instruction. And then when it gets pulled out fully, bands or musicians might play. They might have community talent shows, special events, or theatrical performances. So this is an example of layout one. It would be everyday use with the benches and tables kind of opening up the space put towards the outer edges of the park, and how people might use the park for relaxation, nature, gardening, or picnics. This is another layout where you can see how the tables and benches are being rearranged for screenings or movies. Layout three kind of gives you an idea of what a community workshop might look like, where there is an artist or a community member teaching a workshop, and the tables and benches are focused right in front of the chalk wall. Here's layout four with the stage pulled out just halfway. And we imagine that can be used for exercise classes or yoga in our communication with Pico Union. All of these things and uses were really important to them. So we tried to incorporate all of their needs in this multi-purpose design. This is how we might imagine a speaker series or a small duet or band playing at the site. Oops, excuse me. This is layout six, where we imagine the stage being fully pulled out, and there might be a theatrical performance or mariachis or a larger band with more instruments, and people could be dancing and enjoying the music and connecting with each other. Oops, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, this is sometimes on Zoom. This is the children's play area, an overview where we really wanted to make a natural looking play area. We are still in iteration of this, and we'd love to meet with the community. We're also thinking of developing a second level to optimize the space for the children. And then we also thought about and have just began to iterate this idea called Green Kids Thrive Club as part of an our county plan to really get kids excited and develop ideas that are geared towards school-age children that could be developed with community engagement in mind and implemented with each pocket park. Our next steps would be to meet with Pico Union Housing Corp to review the design and iterate in depth, make revisions based on feedback and budget, iterate a final version, present it to the Pico Union captains and community for feedback, secure funding, hire a project manager, architect and developer, Gloria, hire manufacturers and vendors, and then develop an annual community engagement plan in collaboration with our county and the block captains. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Gina, thank you so much. I learned a ton. I also didn't know anything about veggie chalk. So now I know that exists. It's the most minor thing I learned, but nonetheless, that is something new.
We did have a lot of fun thinking through every element of sustainability so that the site was actually an educational structure, but then everything that's used through the site has an educational opportunity, all the way down to veggie chalk.
I think that's wonderful. I see John Cobb's in the session here, and I know that kind of systematic, holistic thinking is near and dear to John's heart. So here to respond to your project is Allison Hirsch. Allison is a landscape theorist, historian, and designer and professor at USC. She's pinch hitting for a member of the CSO task force today. Allison, thank you so much for stepping in. Your research and background gives you lots of ways to think about the Otis project, I'm sure. What questions do you have for Gina?
Yes, thank you so much, Gina. And thank you, Pando team, for making me the pinch hitter. I also was unaware of the veggie chalk, so something you learn every day. But obviously, this was a really multifaceted project that had so much depth to it. And what I appreciated so much is the multifunctionality of it. I am a landscape architect, and I'm head of what's called the Landscape Justice Initiative. So sort of this geography is not that far from USC, and the issues that the prompt offered are significant to me. My questions, I had two probably primary questions, and one of them might actually give you a chance to talk a little bit about that PDF that you will ultimately be uploading, because you seem to hint that you were going to arrive there at some point. But as someone who has worked in the public realm on both large and small scale public projects with communities, and including in this area, I was curious at how you anticipate. What I think is wonderful about, I'll just back up, what I think is wonderful about the project is also that you are thinking systemically. So you're actually not just focused on this one site, but a set of processes through which you could imagine intervening in a variety of sites. But what I was curious about is how you foresaw the process to figure out how one of these pocket parks, or even this particular pocket park, reflects the community. Because I think that you said that in the beginning, that you were very cautious of or careful about ensuring that these places actually reflect the community. And I asked that largely because inevitably in public projects, there's going to be conflict. And, I've had experience with interesting forms of conflict in this area, whether it was with conflict with unhoused populations, or, that you said it was this project is mostly geared towards children and family, understanding that there's sort of different conceptions of community. So that was my first question. And the second question, because I'm building off a model from yesterday I attended, so I know that I'm supposed to only talk once and then you answer. So I'll just say both and feel free to answer either or both. But, as a landscape architect, I'm also really focused on the planted world as well. And, understanding that environmental justice was part of the primary mission statement. I'm curious about, I imagine that you're aware of Cal Envirus Green and the correlation between sort of park poor neighborhoods and pollution burdens. I'm curious about how both issues of environmental justice through both tree canopy, other forms of the planted landscape might actually play into this as part of facilitating that quest towards environmental justice. And I ask that mostly because, this is a pollution burdened area. And, the palm trees that existed probably aren't doing as much as they possibly could that are shown in the renderings.
Yeah, thank you for those questions and for being here, Allison. So, this design, we have a very small architecture program at Otis. And this past semester, I didn't have any architects. Thankfully, my TA had some experience using Rhino. However, you know, throughout the year, we were so privileged and grateful to connect directly with Gloria and the site captains and the community, and present them iterations of the park. And so every time that we did, we tried to listen really deeply and understand all of the needs and all of the varying needs and how those might work in a very small footprint. So that was one of the reasons why we kind of tried to integrate all of this multi-use, multi-purpose functionality in the design to be as flexible as possible and also respond to as many needs as possible within this really small footprint. As far as ecological justice and the, you know, planted world, we came up with a couple of solutions. We didn't see it in this rendering, but so we did, you know, we were concerned about the noise pollution and being so close to the gas station. We didn't want to plant a lot of big trees because we were worried about losing just square footage on the ground. But we did think about, you know, having these vertical planter gardens or these green walls that would go vertically, and then having those used not only for aesthetic and health purposes, but also planning, using those and having these garden boxes on the side as kind of ongoing community engagement opportunities with food and gardening workshops. And so we imagined, unfortunately, we have a small amount of time, but we imagined that once the park was built, we developed like these 5 themes for ongoing community engagement that look at the goals of the sustainability plan. And then community members, artists, designers, either could be guests or, you know, the community itself could work with Pico Union and develop these workshops based on their local knowledge, their concerns. And that's how we kind of really approached it. And then we also looked at LADWP has a native plant program, and we thought that would be a great connection because often they do workshops and they offer those lists for free. And sometimes they even offer the plants and trees for free, and they have apartment workshops. And so we really thought of developing those types of partnerships that could provide support as programming moving throughout time.
Thank you so much, Allison and Gina, both very appreciative.